Poof, be gone. You might want to vanish or ghost us after listening to this episode of Bewitched Banter. Content is explicit. You have been warned.
Welcome. You are listening to Bewitched Banter, where two crazy people
and best friends, I think, sometimes, which is one of them, skeptical, Ames, you,
and Krista, our believer in-house.
Hello. We talk about the universe and magical things, spooky things, shit like that.
Exactly. Yeah, we talk about a lot of what I would call make-believe.
But really though, we do talk about spooky things, spiritual things, so whack-ass religions, cults, and the paranormal.
And I'd like to bring us back to the solid rock we live on and talk about how the science community debunks majority of the topics we cover.
Well, nice segue, as our friend Amy is very grounded to this earth, especially as today's episode is all about landing on North American Earth. So actually, happy Thanksgiving, y'all, because it is Thanksgiving that we're going to be releasing this ep. So happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, and I hope your family is tolerable.
We hope you don't have like an Uncle Jab at your table that's like all about Trump lost, that bullshit.
We'll ask them how they feel about the spotting that happened instead of the red wave.
What, like period spotting? I haven't heard that term.
So they said it's gonna be a red wave, and people were saying it was more like a light spotting.
Oh, no shit. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, I dig that. I'm gonna start diving into your scope, though. You ready for this?
Am I ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. What bullshit am I gonna hear today?
Well, we are not recording on Thanksgiving. This episode is, this horoscope is for November 17th, which is today. Gemini, you can find some balance now when it comes to your chattiness. Oh, chit chat, I guess.
Damn, they're telling me not to record the podcast anymore. Shut the fuck up, Gemini.
Oh my God. Some inward-oriented energy is helping you to see your relationships in a new light and take a different approach to your communications.
So I'm trying to think, is there any new things I've done to communicate to others? I'm trying to think here. These horoscopes are a huge stretch, and maybe that's why I need something that tells me a little bit more about my life.
Maybe.
I have been communicating to people through my normal ways, through talking, text, TikTok,
Instagram,
and seeing my relationships in a new light. I'm trying to think about that one. Again, I'm sorry. I have nothing interesting to say about this.
All right. Moving on.
Sorry.
All good.
Maybe horoscopes are just not my thing. That is what I'm learning. Okay, moving on. So hopefully Krista will have something insightful with hers.
Let's see.
Libra, you're going to receive very good news through others. Someone you encounter in your day-to-day life will brighten it, and greatly in an unexpected way.
Ooh.
Enjoy this exciting development and spread the good energy you receive.
I'm hoping it's a certain flavor of energy, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm waiting for the old werewolf eggplant. You know what I'm saying? we'll see. I don't know.
So what do you got to say about yours? Like anything insightful there?
I'm going to relate to it because I always do. I have been doing daily meditations, as I've said, in the past couple episodes, and they've been phenomenal. I've been actually journaling them this time instead of just doing the Calm app. And I really have been feeling a higher vibrational energy of like just exuding light. So maybe I'm just meant to start sharing my light, my newfound light with others. I don't know. Again, that's real pushing it, but
I'm really trying to think for mine. Like, I don't know if I can be chatty, but I don't think I'm overall too chatty.
I was going to say, I'm usually and you're like, you're more of a listener, which is good. We could all use more of that. Usually.
Inward oriented energy.
You're focusing
your relationships
on your jobs
in new light. What?
You're focusing on your jobs.
I know, but that's like the only thing we could come up with every episode.
Mm,
We need some new shit.
all right. We'll move on to some new horoscopes in the new year because right now we got other
Or
shit
something that's a little bit more lighthearted and funny.
funny. Yeah, we need
These
some
are
funny
a little
ones.
too serious for me.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm reflecting inward that we need new horoscopes.
Okay, there you go. There, you made it happen.
Inward.
You made it work, people.
Yes, that is what I'm reflecting on.
You made it work. All right.
Well, again, I will say this was Krista's idea with the horoscope, so I'm playing along.
I do appreciate that.
And trying to be nice about it and not say it's bullshit every episode, which I kind of notice I do.
Yeah, so you sort of do. Yeah.
I'm trying to work on it. That is my inward communication with myself.
You figured it out.
I'm trying to help Krista.
You figured it out. Well, speaking of helping me, I wanted to take the opportunity to get a little sentimental in our feels. So deal with it, bitch. It is Thanksgiving the day we release this episode. So again, happy Thanksgiving, y'all. I just wanted to take at the top toot toot beep beep, which is our later segment closing off to where we thank people or shout badass women out, badass people in our lives out. So speaking of being there for me, we all know Amy has been for me the last 2 years, better half of 1.5, 2 years. So I wanted to take the opportunity.
Is this when I get $1 million as a thank you?
Yeah, once we get some sponsors.
Or if I ever need therapy, maybe you could sponsor the first session.
Happy to.
I'll just send you the bill in the mail.
Perfect. Got you. But for real though, I wanted to take an early toot toot beep beep, which again is our later segment that we're thanking people in our lives or shouting out badass women in our lives or people in our lives. But at the top of this episode, because it is Thanksgiving. So I just wanted to say, I'm getting in my feels. Like I said, deal with it, bitch. She's our unemotional one, at least on the surface, and on the bleeding heart, as we know. Just want to say thank you because I'm so, the gratitude doesn't cover it. The word gratitude, the feeling, a sensation of gratitude does not cover how genuinely, profoundly thankful that I am in the spirit of Thanksgiving for your friendship and your time and your love and patience with me, because it has been a wild ass fucking ride, but I'm so glad to the birth of our baby, our podcast baby. And you know, it's funny, a long time ago, Amy and we used to say that we signed a pregnancy pact, which we actually never did anything with blood or anything, no blood rituals. But,
oh yeah, we did. Just don't tell the listeners. Come on.
But we made a pregnancy pact, jokingly, when I was with my ex, and in the fact that we'd both get pregnant together because it'd be really fun and
or horrific. It could be a nightmare.
Probably would have, looking back, horrific, but
nightmare for everyone.
But honestly, I think we, instead of giving birth to a baby, we obviously given birth to Bewitched Banter. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I'm giving thanks to that because I am so fucking proud of us, of you, and thankful to you. So that was my at the top
very sweet
beep beep.
Very sweet.
So enough of the sappy shit, because that's not your favorite jam. Let's move on.
Okay. Well, I love you too, bitch.
Aw, I know. All right, so I'm gonna take us back, all the way back to elementary school. Pilgrims and quote unquote Indians, as they were called in our day. And I know that's no longer PC, so from here on out, it's going to be Native people or Indigenous people. We learned all about in elementary school, at least I did at elementary school. I don't know how early they started teaching you.
I don't remember that shit.
Well, yes, they left a real impression on you. We learned about the Pilgrims landing on Plymouth Rock, hence Thanksgiving. And we learned about Jamestown, Virginia.
Probably as early as what, you think, first grade?
Yeah, I think so. Or first or second.
I remember having my little vest I made from
and then the paper.
I'm making
headdress.
It from a grocery bag and painting on it.
Yep.
Like a brown paper bag.
Yep. I remember that. You know, we can't do that shit now. I guarantee I won't be seeing that from Teddy's classroom this Thanksgiving. Anyhow, that's probably for the better. But again, before all that shit, before Jamestown, before the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock, there was also another Thanksgiving vibey story, because there were Pilgrims and colonists that came to the lost colony of Roanoke. Have you heard this story before?
No. If I did, I don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't think they taught us this one because it was, it's not suited for first graders, as it is considered one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries and missing persons cases.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty fucking cool. Here we go. Diving into history class.
I know, it feels like this is a history class.
I love it though. That's what I'm loving, like exploring all last few episodes, like you said on Werewolf Killer last week, that it's really an indictment of the Catholic Church, which this, no surprise, this story is too. So
damn,
yeah, man. All right,
these
so
Catholics.
I'm telling y'all, it is. You ready? We're gonna go back into history time.
Okay, I'm ready.
It's the late 1500s, and for some godforsaken reason, people, I'm talking about the Brits here, they think it's brilliant to just hop on a wooden ship, cross the ocean, conquer a new world. Just brilliant idea, folks. No diseases. What could go wrong? No shipwrecks, no piracy. No, nothing could go wrong.
But wasn't it out of desperation to leave?
It was, and that's my next sentence, actually. They actually did leave for a legit myriad of reasons.
It wasn't like, oh, honey, let's go to the tropics for a honeymoon.
Oh, that's coming later in my segment, actually, about going to the Caribbean. But they did leave, to Amy's point, for religious persecution. So again, Catholics persecuting the Protestants. So a lot of Protestants said, peace out. They left for money, power, exploration, all that good shit. Land, right? They wanted land rights. So the Roanoke colony was actually established prior to the infamous disappearance of the quote unquote lost colony. It was an attempt by Governor Ralph Lane in 1585 on what is now Dare County to settle a new colony there in North Carolina. And it's outside of the Outer Banks, which actually Allie and my best friend and I, we vacation there one summer, very good time. And a lot of my best friends go as a group to Hatteras Island, which is what Roanoke now is today, off the coast of North Carolina. So Lane, this Englishman, he tries to establish a colony there, but they had shitty supplies, they had poor relations with the local natives, and while awaiting the delayed resupply mission, they were like, yeah, fuck this, I'm abandoning ship, and they were returned back to England. So Lane and those folks abandoned ship, not literally, because they got on the ship to get the fuck back to England, but he then abandoned the colonists that he had, and therefore any of his claim to land in the Americas. So he's like, yo, this is too rough for me. However, it was not too rough of an idea for Sir Walter Raleigh. As we know, Raleigh, North Carolina is a huge area today, named after this piece of shit. Sir Walter Raleigh, along with Queen Elizabeth I, commissioned a second expedition led by Captain John White. And he was an explorer and an artist in the form of a cartographer, map maker. I know I can't say that one either. Queen Elizabeth's like, all right, Raleigh, I'll fund this expedition in conjunction with you in 1587. And so Raleigh sent White to the Americas to establish, with the sole purpose of establishing the city of Raleigh in Chesapeake Bay. Again, this was off the coast of North Carolina. On May 8th, 1587, White and 115 people, including men, women, and children, who were mostly middle-class Londoners, headed for Chesapeake Bay and the New World. Before anchoring there, however, White was commanded by Captain Simon Fernandez, note that name because it's going to come into play later, check on the men from the prior failed mission to set up the colony there. So they're like, all right, we're heading to Chesapeake, but hold up, we got to stop here on Roanoke to make sure that those other bros we left behind are cool. And so they did. But instead of doing that, they actually ended up marooning or stranding the 115 Roanoke colonists and Captain White on Roanoke instead of heading all the way to inland to Chesapeake Bay. And it was kind of like a mystery of why they did that. But we're going to cover why Fernandez did that to White and the colonists.
Okay.
So they're there. They get there, I think, mid-August. or mid to late August. And at first, it looks great for these colonists on Roanoke because, unlike his predecessors, Captain and Governor White was very good at negotiating and well respected as you can be as a European by the natives. And it really looked like the colonists of Roanoke and his expedition were going to be very prosperous that summer. White, later brought one of the native leaders named Montheo back to England with him later to serve as a translator and ambassador. And I say that just to underscore the point that he was a good negotiator.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked promising. And again, that's not really important to the story. The second attempt sailing there was fine up until they started running out of supplies that fall and winter.
Are they sailing from England?
They ran out of supplies on Roanoke on that second attempt.
Okay.
While they were there with Captain White. And so they're like, yo, bro, like, we need supplies. What are you going to do? And it was decided by the colonists that he brought with him that they're like, dude, you got to go back. Go beg to the queen for more shit. We need support. We need supplies. We need money. And so he's like, all right, y'all want me to go? I'm going to go. He left only 1 month later after they arrived. So he left to go back to England to gather those fresh supplies. So off he sailed. He left behind his wife, his daughter, and his infant granddaughter named Virginia Dare, Dare. And Virginia will come into the picture a little bit later as well. Baby Virginia was the first English child born in the Americas. Again, remember her name because she'll come into play a little later.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so again, Captain White's going back to England. He's stocking up and he's ready to go back about 3 months later. However, when it was time for him to return, it just so happened to be during the time of Great War between the Brits and the Spaniards. And Queen Elizabeth was like, nah, bro. Sorry, your wife and kids are like stuck behind in that shitty ass swampland back there. Like, sorry, sucks to suck. But I command, bend the knee. No, I command that all/any naval officers of the crown to take on the Spanish Armada. Fuck, my English accent sucks.
The Spanish what?
The Spanish Armada.
Okay, I couldn't understand.
Yeah, English, not my thing.
No comprende.
And the Spanish Armada was a huge vessel that was used to fight the British and invade as they were fighting for new territory in the Americas.
Mm-hmm.
And so that stranded dear Captain White in England for freaking 3 years. Okay, so he left his peeps back in Roanoke, and for 3 freaking years, he couldn't return. So
sounds about right during those times.
Sucks. Like, no thanks, man.
Yeah.
But it would not be until August 1590 that White was finally granted a return voyage on very small supply boats to conduct a rescue mission. And he returned that August, almost the year to date to his granddaughter's birthday in 1590.
She's like, who are you, daddy?
Yeah,
I guess you wouldn't call you daddy.
Ew. Yeah, it would be her granddad. And when he got there, he found absolutely no trace of Virginia, his daughter, nor any of the other roughly 115, 110 colonists that he'd left behind. So
that would suck. You would have to sail across the whole ocean and then you get there and you're like, they're not even here.
Yeah, dude. Yep. And like, that's your family too, right? Like, and you have no trace of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of scary. So one of the videos I watched describe him walking up the sandy banks of North Carolina, and the only clue that was found was the word crow on a tree that he had passed by. So he continues to walk up to where the settlement was, and the only thing that was left remaining was the wooden pylons that they had surrounding the colony. So like a wooden wall of big,
Mm-hmm.
fences. And on one of those, the word Croatoan was found carved. So Crow and Croatoan will play a role in this.
What's the second word mean?
It's short for, they don't really know for sure. They think it's short for Croatoan. And Croatoan just happened to be an island southeast of Roanoke and the name of a local tribe on that island.
Okay.
And it was said in lore, and actually found in Captain John White's diaries, later found in them, that the colonists would write some type of sign for him as to where they would go. if something happened upon his return. So they speculated that perhaps maybe they moved to Croatoan for more supplies or to, be more safe, right?
But would he know where that is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a map maker, remember?
Oh, okay.
So he was very familiar with the coast, and we'll get into actually one of his maps in a minute that is very important to the story.
Okay, Miss Hines.
However, no bodies, no graves, no ship.
Or no shit.
Or no shit.
Yeah.
No ship, no bones, no homes were found, no belongings. And the people, obviously, gone. So there's nothing of evidence to know what happened to them. They assumed it was Croatoan. So next day, they sail there, but by the time they get to shore, it's nightfall. So they can't really conduct a good search. Next day, there's really bad weather. And they kept blowing them off the coast of the shore, away and away from Roanoke, from Croatoan. So they weren't able to explore. And basically, from all of the accounts I read, it sounded like he kind of fucking gave up after like 3 days of searching.
That's quick,
right? That's what I thought, but who knows? I don't know.
Oh well, it's just my family.
Yeah, no big deal. And all his belongings were gone. The homes that had been built out of stone were dismantled. So it was just really interesting. Like literally nothing was left behind. Not even English pottery that they would have had with them back then, and especially no graves and no bodies. Right. So it's just a mystery because there's no physical evidence of these people. They just seemingly poof. Vanished. And because of that, it's now called the Lost Colony. And for 400 years, investigations into the fate of this lost colony have been attempted, but no one, not even academics, come up with a plausible answer. All right, so we can't find these people. Even 400 years later, nobody knows what the hell happened to them. Not with DNA testing, not with environmental testing, or any archaeological explorations or expeditions and digs. Still no grave sites 400 years later have been found, or bodies. Scholars and the public alike, again, nobody knows where the hell these poor people or pilgrims went, or what their fate was. So that said, there is a fuckload of theories.
Okay, let's hear it.
Would you like me to start with the plausible ones or the paranormal theories first? Which one?
I don't know. Surprised me.
All right, we're going paranormal.
Okay.
When you leave it to me, that's what's going to happen. So we have zombies. Theory number one is zombies. Flesh-eating zombies. It actually made me think about, remember
But would the zombies eat their houses too? Because you made it sound like they had structures.
They did.
Houses.
They did
and
have
those
structures.
were gone and no trace?
No trace.
So my biggest theory, before we even get to it.
What do you think?
He wasn't at the right place.
A lot of historians say that. That's funny you mentioned that.
Yep. I feel like he probably, because his map was probably incorrect, he just went to the wrong place.
Yep, a lot.
I know it's probably the most boring theory of all, but it's probably the one that's most likely true.
I think you're right. And actually, I have another theory, but
or it could really be the zombies. Let's be
zombies.
real.
But I was thinking back to Salem episode. Remember when the girls ate that, like the ergot, I think it was called?
Yeah.
And it made them crazy.
Yeah.
And they were then convicted of witchcraft. And I'm thinking maybe they ate some type of weird mushroom that made them go crazy and turn cannibalistic. I don't know.
Well, that could be true, but I think it's more likely Captain what's his name messed up.
Captain White
didn't show up at the right place, and
then he just left his family after 3 days. Peace out.
Well, and that makes me think he doesn't. That makes me think he wasn't at the right place, because if he was only there 3 days, you wouldn't know the landmarks as well. Especially if you're off the shore, that a lot of the ocean looks the same to me. You can drive an hour and it looks very similar. So I can see how you could be like thinking you're at the right spot, but you're not.
So hold that thought, because that actually comes into a theory.
Okay.
Hold that thought about maps.
Damn, I'm like a historian over here.
Number 2, paranormal.
Aliens.
How'd you know?
It's like people are predictable or something.
Well, here's the kicker with this one. This particular tribe, which was a mixture of the Croatoans and the Algonquins, and there's several other tribes, so I apologize. I did not jot those down, but at least 2 of them believed in aliens in the form of lizard people
Oh.
What up, Tom?
Hey, Tom probably descends from those people.
Your peeps, man. But these natives believed that the aliens came in the form of reptiles and would either eat people or turn them into the land. So making the people.
But what about the structures?
No idea. No, we don't know.
Oh, also, sorry, I'm just jumping.
You're obsessed with the homes here. I like
Well,
it.
but that theory doesn't sound very sound. If you're like zombies came, there would still be their houses remaining there.
No, that's true.
I guess that theory to me, it doesn't seem very thought out.
Well,
because if they ate the people, are they eating like their wood from their cabin?
Maybe aliens.
That
who knows?
It doesn't make sense. That doesn't give. There's so many questions left unanswered. Then why aren't there any structures there?
No idea, James. No one knows. No one knows. But so anyways,
these conspiracy theorists are lame. They need to get their shit together, get the full story worked out, because I'm not buying any of it.
But these natives believed, again, that the aliens would come in the form of reptiles and then take the people's souls.
Who are believing these theories?
The natives. This is the natives' belief.
Current day or back in the day?
It's currently a conspiracy theory because the natives of that time and day believed in reptilian people or reptilian aliens, essentially. And so today's conspiracy theorists are taking what the ancient beliefs were, or the 400-year-old beliefs were, and putting them into their bucket of belief.
How many people are in the interweb still discussing this?
Probably quite a few.
You think people still give a shit?
Oh, for thousands. People give a whole ton of shit. Google Roanoke Lost Colony. It's a thing. And it was huge in popular culture, in books and movies, TV, but it didn't really become repopularized until the 30s, and then it had a renaissance in the 90s.
I guess I just have too much on my plate to be worrying about that stuff or be like debating it on Facebook with Granny K.
All right, well, so zombies.
I have another theory though too.
Hold it. Well, what is it? Tell us first.
Hurricane.
There you go. It's on the list. The first two were the paranormal ones. The rest are actually potentially plausible.
Okay.
You want to hear those?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what the non-wackadoos think.
All right. So we have assimilation into the local or regional tribes. Again, Algonquin or Croatoan was the name of the island south of Roanoke that was home to the tribe of the same name. So perhaps the colonists were either absorbed into the tribes and assimilated, or perhaps they were murdered. There's that option as well.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of goes into the next theory of cannibalism by the natives / massacre. And so not zombie cannibals, but actual human cannibals as part of the native traditions. And this is true. They can actually fact check this part of what one of the tribes did was take human life for sacrifice and then grind up the bones for potions. And that's something they actually did do. So that's a plausible explanation of why they didn't find any bones or graves, potentially. Potentially, right?
What about the structures?
The goddamn homes.
The goddamn homes. Are the cannibals eating those too? None of these theories make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's such a mystery.
How many homes were there? Do we know?
And probably not that many. I mean, it was.
I guess they could burn them.
No, they were made of stones. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, another theory is that they moved inland back to where they were supposed to go all along, which was Chesapeake Bay, and that an attempt to do that they met, to your point, bad weather and were shipwrecked, or they tried to sail south to the Caribbean, which I'm about to do for my holiday season, y'all. What up? I mean, shit, if I was them, I'd be going to the Caribbean. See y'all. I'm trying to be in the swamp.
Hey, I was just at the swamps, and it was actually very, very pretty.
Oh, yes, she was in North Carolina.
No, I mean South Carolina.
Sorry, we were talking about North. She went to South Carolina.
Yeah. We overlooked like a marsh, and then we did like canoe ride through a canoe, and it was actually very beautiful.
It did look like a lot like sha-la-la-la-la-la, don't be scared. Like
what?
The Kiss the Girl from Little Mermaid. Like that scene. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
No, I don't.
What the fuck? You never watched Little Mermaid?
Yeah, I did. I just don't remember it.
Her and Eric are about to make out in the rowboat on a swamp with all the Spanish moss.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Girl.
My memory's not that great.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la, don't be scared.
But it
Kiss
does have
the
its
girl.
own beauty, I would
Kiss
say.
the girl. All right, get with your
Not
Disney.
that I don't want to go to the Caribbean, but I'm just saying.
My point is, my ass is going to the Caribbean in like 2.3 weeks, 5 weeks, and I would have been doing that shit. Bye. See y'all. Bye.
But they even know what the Caribbean's like at that time.
Yes, because they were fighting with the Spaniards for that
I know,
territory.
but the people who hadn't traveled there.
Probably
You
not.
get on Google Images and look up the Caribbean.
They didn't get to their travel agent.
Yeah.
Yo, Penelope Pilgrim, I need you to book me.
Exactly.
First flight out after Thanksgiving for my crazy ass family. You know, we got native Jim over here and we got crazy ass Trump dad over here. We gotta go. I'm out. First
Am
flight
I
out.
annoying because I'm so logical?
No, I think it's good. Again, good to question things, just like your tour guide said. They either moved to the Caribbean or inland or attempted to sail back to England on their own.
Or they're like, my dad's a dick and left me here and I don't need to stick around for him, so I'm just going to do what the hell I want and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
He
Dad.
left them for 3 years.
Exactly.
Like, that's daddy issues. I got to go and find myself a new man.
Preach. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's another theory.
Could have been. They found themselves a hot ass native man. What's up?
Yeah. Why stick around for a man who just left you high
That
and
native
dry
king, you know what I'm saying?
in another country and say, oh, good luck surviving?
Yeah. So that's a other possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Dare Stones theory.
Okay.
And Dare, remember, Virginia Dare, she was the granddaughter of Captain White, who stranded everybody. And these stones were supposedly found in the 90s and were claimed to...
How big are they?
They're pretty small, little, and they have like hieroglyphic type etchings in them. That type of material and medium would have been used by colonists, like a tablet in stone.
Mm-hmm.
However, they were determined to be frauds, but they were said to have been writings on the stones left behind to tell what happened to all the colonists that they died, but they were all frauds.
So Mr. White found those?
No, archaeologists later in the 90s found those.
Oh.
And they were all frauds.
Oh, that's right, because Mr. White didn't care, and he 3 days of searching was like, bye.
It's like, peace out, y'all. I'm
I
out.
didn't really like my family anyway. I was trying to find a way to escape them. I did it for 3 years. Now I'm back. I'm going to do it
back,
again.
Man. Oh, shit, they're gone? Oh, no. And then finally, this is where the Spanish Catholics come in. We have political conspiracy theories against Sir Walter Raleigh. And if we remember, Raleigh is a huge namesake city in North Carolina still to this day, but he was the one that funded the whole expedition to initially Chesapeake Bay. However, remember, that was their original destination, not Roanoke. However, Sir Fernandez, it has said in this theory, had a secret plot against him to strand not only Captain White and all his colonists, but to also really take over the land that Walter Raleigh had claimed to be his.
Wait, so White's against Raleigh?
No, so White worked for Raleigh, right? He was the one manning the ship and the expedition to the New World on behalf of Raleigh and Queen Elizabeth. However, Fernandez was like the co-captain of one of the smaller ships that followed, but surprisingly left like with him on the way back to England, and also made them really suddenly stop at Roanoke instead of going all the way through Chesapeake Bay without explanation. He's like, nope, we're just going to stop here.
Okay.
And they did it under the guise of rescuing, again, those folks that were in that very first mission.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're like, nope, just psych, you're going to be stuck in Roanoke, bye. And so the theory is that it was a political scheme against Sir Walter Raleigh because he was really exploitative of the land and of anything in general. That does not make Fernandez better or worse, right? He was exploiting it too, but the theory is it was a political plot against Raleigh, unbeknownst to the Queen, to like sabotage him and this expedition. Okay. So that's the other theory. And then finally, we also have, as you mentioned, very smartly, environmental causes, right? There could have been a shipwreck. There could have been horrible storms. They could have went starving, famine, right?
Mhm.
However, then where are the bodies? Where are the graves, right?
Well,
So
wouldn't they be in the ocean, which would be hard to find?
that's what I think. That's my theory for real. Is like, okay, well, they're on this shitty marshland. They're probably in the ocean somewhere. And because of that theory, there are other actual plausible things that were mentioned in my research, like environmental causes, shore erosion, things like that that you can't really point to. However, back to your map theory, there was one other one that said the British Museum actually was commissioned to test one of Captain White's maps that obviously was hand drawn back then, and it's on the drive in my doc if you want to see it.
I'm just looking at pictures of Roanoke. It's pretty.
It's now a historical site, as I'm sure you and beach as you're probably looking at, but they found his map and they tested it and they did it with some type of light spectrum and found that an X was found shortly off the shore of Roanoke that had then been covered up like by a piece of paper. And they're like, well, maybe this X marks a spot is where they actually went, which was another island, I think, again, southeast.
So who would have sabotaged the maps?
Maybe the Spaniards, because they were fighting for the Southern Americas at that time. So it's really, and obviously, as we know, they were really volatile. And so the crux of the Spanish-English War was, again, Catholic Protestant as well as land, right? And so it was really, really violent overseas and making that voyage. So it could have been the Spaniards. It could, not, like everyone wants to turn and blame the natives, but it could have been the Spaniards.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if it was me, I'd be sailing right on down to the Caribe, which cannot wait if you couldn't tell. I'm going. But that's my theory, again, is like weather and ocean. But what you still think? I
think zombies.
You think zombies?
For sure.
Not lizard people? Tom is going to be
or
so
maybe the
disappointed.
lizard people got a little hungry, want a little snack.
Well, that is the very brief history of the lost Roanoke colony.
That's probably enough, like the right amount of history. You know what I mean?
That's all we have. But I think
it was good, but we only need so much history lessons on here.
But I think it's pretty cool, though, that not cool. It's intriguing that we don't have an answer. This is, again, one of America's biggest unsolved missing persons cases. And where the fuck are these people? We don't know. Nobody knows. So.
What year was this?
1597.
Oh, so the same time Peter
Stumpf. While old Peter Stumpf was getting tortured.
Yeah.
These people were...
the werewolf killer. If you didn't listen to it in the last episode.
Yep, go check it out. We also have a really special treat coming for you next week with a guest of ours, a friend of mine, Courtney, who is a practicing witch. And we're going to talk all about how witchcraft, witch beliefs are actually really all about women in a nutshell, and women who are just so in touch with themselves and nature. And it's not all that scary bullshit that the Catholics made us believe. So really looking forward to that next week. Do you have a toot beep beep?
Damn, I need to prepare better for these. You go first.
Ooh, let's see. This is a cheat because I just mentioned my friend Courtney, but I'm gonna give it up for her. So excited to see her and just really proud of her. She has her own business of handcrafted goods, baths, salts, and candles, and crimson sage. And I just highly recommend checking it out. And I'm just really proud of her. So check her out in our episode next week.
Well, mine is kind of dark.
Oh God, that is not toot beep beep.
Well, no, it is. It's still. I was gonna talk about the women of Iran who are currently fighting for their rights and the right to be treated just as equal human beings, and just how scary that is. That it. I know this has always been the theme, and we talk about this a lot, but it's how much women have to fight for just equal rights and equal standards.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the generations before us paved the way for us. I feel yes, we've witnessed Roe versus Wade, but we haven't witnessed it the same way our mothers have.
Right.
I know my mom, we've had conversations and she's there's a lot of things, and not in a condescending way, but just in a way that we were just given so much that we take for granted.
Yeah.
Like that just as a right. Whereas back in the day, women were expected just to be like a secretary, teacher, or a nurse.
Yep.
And like our world is changing so rapidly. And just to see from another cultural lens what's happening in other countries, how our rights can be taken away so quickly. So I don't know if that's a toot toot beep beep, but just those women standing up for their rights, and it's just
hell yeah.
how terrifying that would be.
But how brave they are to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's a toot toot beep beep.
And I wish I sounded more educated talking about it, but I have been watching a little bit on the news about it, but not enough. But I do think that is something I'd like to shout out.
Hell yeah. It's a good one.
I hope I sounded halfway decent
Of
or
course.
eloquent talking about
No,
that.
it's funny you mentioned secretaries. My mom, I'll never forget it. She always tells a story because Barb is definitely a feminist, hardcore. Very similar. Our moms are similar in that they have 2 daughters, and we're like, you don't take no shit from anybody, no man, but nobody, especially, right? And you be your own advocate. And that's how our mothers both taught us. And she would always tell the story of what she worked for IBM out of college and her whole career before she got into real estate. And she's like, I walked into that office and said, hell no, I'm not going to be your secretary. And turns out she was really high up in the organization for many years of her career. But it's all because she was like, fuck you, I am nobody's secretary. And she's a boss. So proud of
Go
that.
Barb.
Go Barb. And Vicky for raising each separately 2 independent daughters. So fuck yeah. To our moms, I guess, is a toot toot beep beep.
I know. Next week, I'm going to come prepared with one a little bit more prepared to talk about it, but that was off the top of my head what I could think of.
Oh, I love it. Well, happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Don't get in a fight with your family. It ain't worth it. Just not. Just
try not to. At least.
Just shut up. Eat your pie.
Put some pie in your pie hole.
That's right.
Well, we hope you have a fabulous Thanksgiving. I hope you can spend it with your family, your friends, or if you want to, just spend some time by yourself and enjoy your own company. But we hope you have a good time, eat some yummy food, and just have some time off work. We all need it. We're overworked in this country.
Yep. Oh, and thank you all for whomever listens religiously and shares, and just thank you for listening.
Yes, we should say thank you to you guys for listening. It means a lot to us.
It sure does. So
we probably don't say that enough. So thank you for taking the time. We know your time is precious, so we always appreciate you guys listening and tuning in.
1000%.
And going on this shit show journey with us.
It's been a ride, but one we're both very thankful for.
Okay, well, thanks, Bewitches.
Be smart, as Ames usually says. And peace.
Peace. Thanks for listening. Check us out on Instagram or bewitchbanter.com. Suggestions for the show? Email us at bewitchbanter@gmail.com. Credits, music Phantom Fun by Jonathan Boyle from premiumbeat.com. Podcast, edited and produced by Krista Hins and Amy Holt. As always, if you enjoyed, please rate, review, and subscribe.